children free.
These are my people.
Oh, turn the river into blood, send the locusts to devour.
These are my people.
Don't you know he said it?
He said it back then, now he said it again. Let my people.
And welcome to the Bible Christians of God, Brother Jacob. Welcome to the sons and daughters of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, spiritually and physically. Those of you joining us live via Facebook, and those of you joining us in the teleconference call room. Today's continuation and the closing out this time around of our series, Israel. And I decided to go ahead and do a closer on this one because I got some things the Lord rather has given me some things to bring for next month. Nevertheless, with this closer, we are closing out with who, when, and how did they replace us in Jerusalem, in the land. And it's very, very, very important part of understanding God's people, who God's people are. And we're going to look at this because you got to know who the Jews are. And you got to know where he placed salvation. You have to know that God ordained and set up an institution. We dealt with that last week with the church, the priest of God, Israel, and we dealt with why they and why we are in the condition we in prior to that. And leg one was the color of the people, the priests of God, the children of Israel. So with today's closing, as we look through the conditions and everything, we come to find out that we were called 184 names. We still are called all kinds of names, and you have people in the land right now that they call the Jewish people. But they call us, we got 184 names to go by, anyway, they don't call us the Jews. Why is this? When did this happen? How did it happen? Is what we're going to explain today. And the true servants of God, I do mean the true servants of God, understand this. Why? Let's go to Genesis 18 chapter and verse 17. Genesis 18 chapter and verse 17. Because God's going to show his path of salvation to his priests. God is going to show it, and I do mean priests, and I ain't just talking about physical Israel. But he's going to show it to his priest because he showed Abraham something here. And I want to go to Genesis 18 chapter. And we're going to start at verse 17. Genesis 18 and verse 17. Genesis 18 and verse 17. Genesis 18 and verse 17. Read, son.
And the Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do?
See, look, he told Abraham, because he is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And if he's your God, notice what it says. Shall I hide from Abraham the thing which I do? See, what the Lord does, he's not going to hide from his servants. That's why he's called the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Go ahead.
Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him.
That's why everyone that take hold of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are blessed. This ain't just an Israelite thing, y'all. We showed you that with the church. Nonetheless, why did he show Abraham, didn't hide things from Abraham? Read verse 19.
For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him.
Yes, sir.
And they shall keep the way of the Lord.
The way of Christianity. The way of pastor. The way of, no, it said they shall do what? Read that again.
For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him. And they shall keep the way of the Lord.
Yes, sir.
To do justice.
To do opinions. To do what they felt like. The book said to do justice, and what else?
And judgment.
And judgment. Go ahead, why?
That the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he has spoken of him.
See, and this is what the Lord does with all his servants, and especially his ministers. he would not hide from them because they guide their household after the Lord in the way of the Lord to do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring all that he's spoken upon his servants upon him. Now let's go to Luke 8:17. Because this thing about who, when, and how, everybody ain't talking about this. Everybody does not understand this. Nevertheless, look what the Lord said in Luke 8 and verse 17. Everybody ain't guiding their household after the Lord. Everybody ain't in the way of the Lord. That's why this who, when, and how did they replace us ain't talked about openly or all blast all over the streets. Or Christendom gets into it. No, they don't. Because they ain't in the way of the Lord. Okay? But look what the Lord said right here. Luke 8:17. Read.
For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest.
See, that's not the secret that shall not be made manifest, y'all. Go ahead.
Neither anything hidden that shall not be known and abroad. Take heed, therefore, how ye hear.
See, look. He said, neither anything hid that shall not be known. So we're going to show you who, when, and how we got replaced. So take heed, therefore, how you hear this. Take heed. Go ahead. For whosoever have what?
For whosoever hath to him shall be given.
Yes, sir.
And whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken even that which he seemeth to have.
Because see, a lot of people seem to think they have a lot of things, but this thing here, everybody ain't got. That's why the Lord said, whosoever hath, to him shall be given. Have the way of the Lord that believes in justice and judgment. It's going to be given to them. It shall not be hid from them. Nonetheless, whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken, even that which he seemeth to have. So let's go and look at why this is so important. Let's go to St. John 4:22. St. John 4:22. St. John, 4th chapter, and we're going to start at verse 22. Watch this, y'all. Read.
Ye worship, ye know not. What we know, what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews.
Read that one more time.
Ye worship, ye know not.
What? This going to comment that, son.
Ye worship, ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews.
Salvation is of the Christians, the Baptists, the Episcopalian. Notice he didn't put a religion on the table, y'all, because the Jew is a people. Nevertheless, he said, ye worship, you know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. Go ahead.
But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshippers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh such to worship him.
Yes, sir.
God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth.
And this is how you must be by God's word. If the Lord wants to show you who, when, and how we got replaced in Jerusalem, y'all. Now let's go. This is one of why he said salvation is of the Jew. Let's go look at Romans 3:1. Romans 3:1. Because we know after Jesus' death and resurrection rose up a sect called the Christians. Notice Jesus didn't say salvation is of the Christians, because if you understood the church lesson last week, you understand what they call Christianity. That doesn't come, like I put out, hey, all Christianity ain't necessarily come from the Bible, y'all. So this Romans 3:1, let's go there. Why he said salvation is of the Jews, but the true worshipers, the Lord required that we worship him in spirit and in truth. So let's look at Paul dropped on here. Go ahead.
Romans 3:1.
Yep.
What advantage then have the Jews? Or what profit is there of circumcision? Much every way.
Well, much no way. It should have said no way, huh? Anyway, we reading in the New Testament, y'all. Number one. Number two, he said, what advantage? We read Jesus said what Jesus said. So what profit is there of the circumcision? Much every way. Why?
Chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of God.
See, we need to understand that God committed the oracles of God to Israel, which Jews is aka Israel. And we're going to understand why he particularly said Jews. Nevertheless, let's continue on. Let's go and see who the gathering of the people shall be by going to Genesis 49 and 10. Genesis 49 chapter and verse 10. We must know who the Jew is. We dealt with the color. Nevertheless, the people that they call Jews don't look like that. They don't look like the people up on that wall like that. No, they don't. So, who? When and how did we get replaced? Genesis 49 and verse 10. Actually, I need to go 49 and 1. Then we're going to skip down to verse 10. Genesis 49th chapter and verse 1. And then we're going to skip down to verse 10. Read.
And Jacob, and Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. Oh, so you got the last days talked about in the first book of the Bible, huh? Because everything ain't chronologically laid out, so you got to search the matter out. That's why the Lord said, hear a little and there look, line upon line, precept upon precept. So we're talking about what's going to happen in the last days. Skip all the way down to verse 10. The scriptures shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet.
Notice it said the scepter shall not depart from Jew. That's where the word Judah, Jew come from. It's a slang of Judah. So the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a what?
Nor a lawgiver from between his feet. Until Shiloh come. And unto him shall the gathering of the people be.
Oh, wait a minute. So unto him shall the gathering of the people be. Because we're going to find out, or we should know, if you've been to the Church of God, Shiloh's talking about Jesus. And watch this. Jesus is this, y'all. Let's go also to Revelations 5 and 5. Shiloh's talking about Jesus. Let's go to Revelation 5 and 5. Why it's so important to understand it so we can figure and understand clearly who, when, and how we got replaced in the land, y'all. We're going to read this one verse, which is talking about Jesus, Revelation 5 and 5. Read.
And one of the elders said unto me, weep not. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, have prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof. So this Jesus that we know of the Bible, he's the Lion of the tribe of Judah. He shall let's come. That's why to him shall the people be gathered. And you got to understand, he come out of Judah. So we got to know who the Jew he is. Because they have the oracles of God. Jesus said salvation is of the Jews, and the true worshipers know this because they worship God in spirit and in truth. So now, let's go to Revelations 2 and 9. Revelations 2 and 9, y'all. Because Jesus made a statement here that many churches don't talk about. But right here, it matters to the Lord who the Jew is and who not. How I know this? Read. I know thy work, and tribulation, and poverty.
And we know about poverty, y'all. And we talk about the tribulations in our neighborhoods big time. Okay? So we know who we're talking about right here. When he said, I know thy works and thy tribulations and thy poverty. Because we dealt with that in the conditions that the Lord poured on the children of Israel. Woo. Anyway, so the Lord know about that thing. Go ahead.
But thou art rich.
And we showed you why we rich. Because last week, Israel possessed the church, the priest of God. Okay, the institution that Lord instituted the church in, both New and Old, y'all, Testament. Go ahead.
And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews.
Oh, wait a minute. Jesus said, I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews. Go ahead.
And are not.
Uh-oh.
But are the synagogue of Satan.
Hey, wait a minute now. If Jesus said, I know the blasphemy, shouldn't we? Should we not know who those are that say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue? Who are they? We're going to identify who they are, y'all. But Jesus said this one time, and notice he said, but they are the synagogue of Satan. But Jesus didn't just say this one time, because it's important to him, and it should be to us, who, when, and how we got replaced. Because there's some people running around talking about they're the Jews, and they are not. Skip to rather, go to Revelation 3 and 9. Jesus said it twice, y'all. Twice. Read.
Behold, I will make them of excuse me. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not.
So somebody running around talking about they Jews and they sit up in synagogues. We're going to get to this post in a minute. Yes, sir. Continue.
But do lie.
Oh, but they do lie. So not only are they called the synagogue of Satan, of course they lie because they in the synagogue of Satan, y'all. Not only are they lying about they are Jews, but they and are not, but they do lie. Go ahead.
Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee.
Yes, sir. Now look, we gonna get to the bottom of who, when, and how this thing went down, y'all. So now look, let's go to Mark 8 and 15. Mark 8 and 15. I'm sorry, Matthew. I'm gonna go to Matthew's 10th chapter. Because the reason why Jesus said, what would trigger Jesus to say, I know the blasphemy of them who said they are Jews and are not, twice. Well, let's begin the journey of identifying why the Lord said this and who he's talking about, y'all. That's running around talking about they the Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Matthew's 10th chapter and verse 30. Let me see if I got this right. I'm going to go to Matthew's 10th chapter and verse 22. Matthew's 10 and 22. Read.
And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. But he that endureth to the end shall be saved.
Yes, sir. That's the other saying that we got to get to. There's a saying you can get now. Okay? Then there's a saying that come at the end. Nevertheless, he said, you should be hated of all men for my name's sake. Because the Lord's called the Holy One of Israel, the unleavened bread, the Passover, the Lamb of God. I can go on and on, but that's a whole nother lesson. Nevertheless, watch this, what he said to his disciples. Go ahead.
But when they persecute you in this city.
Now look, when they persecute you in this city, and we can read that about that in the book of Acts, when his body was persecuted. We read that last week, and Paul said he persecuted the church of God. Nevertheless, he said, but when they persecute you in this city, go ahead.
Flee ye into another. For verily I say unto you, ye shall not have gone over the cities of Israel till the Son of Man be come.
Oh, you mean to tell me you would not have gone over the cities of Israel until the Lord comes? Meaning come back, because he was already here when you made this statement. So this is talking about when he come back. So until the Lord come back, we have not gone over the cities of Israel and the land over there? No wonder he said, I know the blasphemy of them would say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. So now look, let's do ourselves a favor and go to the 23rd chapter of Matthew. Because the Lord said something about the house of Israel that would occur, and we elaborated on it in the curses. Nevertheless, we want to go here to Matthew 23, and we're going to start at verse 37. Because our people still do this to this day, even though we ain't even in our own land. Watch this, y'all. Matthew 23 and 37. Read.
O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets, and stonest them which are sent unto thee.
Hey, and we still do that. We stone. You think they ain't stoning the prophets walking there preaching Jeremiah tomorrow? Bring Moses. Oh, they love to stone Moses. He died. Anyway, so thou which killest the prophets, and stonest them which I sent unto thee. Look what Jesus said. Go ahead.
How often would I have gathered thy children together, even as a hen gathereth her chickens under her wings, and ye would not. behold, your house is left until you desolate.
Now he said, behold, your house is left until you desolate. Let's hold this spot and go to Daniel's 9th chapter and verse 26. Why did the Lord say your house is left until you desolate? Let's go to Daniel's 9 and 26. Daniel's 9th chapter and verse 26. Because it's not here from us who, when, and how we got replaced in Jerusalem, y'all. It's not here from the two ministries of God. I did say ministries. I ain't the only one that know this stuff. That would be foolish and arrogant for me to think, oh, brother, we the only teachers. We the ones that teach it. No. The awakening and the shaking is going on. We in that dispensation now, y'all. The awakening of God's people is occurring. So right here, Daniel's 9, and why he said desolate, Daniel's 9 and start at 26. Read.
And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself.
Notice it said, and after 62 weeks shall Messiah, which we know John 4:25 tells you Christ, because this is Jesus is talking about, he shall be cut off, but not for himself, because the Messiah came to die for who? For us. Christ died for our sins. It said, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes on him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. He was the ultimate sacrifice for our sins. We got that. That's exactly what this is talking about. But watch how it goes into another segment, though. Right quick. Go ahead.
But not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood, and unto the end of the war desolations are determined. Oh,
it went straight to 70 AD, y'all. And we're gonna look at Jerusalem. Nevertheless, it said, and the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city. We're gonna read that destruction, and the end thereof shall be with a flood, and to the end of the war desolations are determined. Go ahead.
And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week.
He shall make a covenant. Now, it ain't got nothing to do with no Antichrist, none of that. Then notice it says, he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week and a day. Oh, it didn't say that either, huh? How many days is in a week, y'all? 7. So he said, he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, which means the confirmation of the covenant had to be done by the 7th day, which is today, the 7th day of the week. Not on the first, if it had been on the first day of the week, he rose on the first day, it would say a week and a day. Because tomorrow is the first day of the week, today is the last day of the week. Week of what? 7 days. So he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. Go ahead.
And in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and oblation to cease.
In other words, he shall, and on Wednesday, which is in the middle of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblations and the commandments and the holy days and the moral laws and the dietary law. Y'all ain't read none of that, did y'all? Let me say what it said and read what it read and say what you see. Okay, let's do that. And he shall cause the sacrifice and oblations to cease. That's what ceased, y'all. Not his dietary laws, not his holy days. I always love to go emphasize this, because everybody like to add all that other stuff. So, and the oblations to cease, and for the overspread of the abomination. Did you finish that song? Go ahead.
He shall make it desolate.
Oh, he shall make it desolate. He said, behold, I leave unto your house desolate. This is what Jesus was talking about. That occurred in 70 AD. He said, for the overspread of abominations, because the Pharisees and the Sadducees and Herodians, they were resisting Jesus' death and sacrifice for us. Which made, after Jesus' death and resurrection, all that sacrifice that they want to do an abomination. So the abominations of the Pharisees and the Sadducees, they were adding, or they were leavening the people, which is another form of abominating the people. He said, for the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate. Go ahead.
Even unto the consummation. And that determined shall be poured upon the desolate.
Look, it's going to be like we never left this chapter. let's go back to Matthew's, the 23rd chapter. Matthew's 23rd chapter. Back to Matthew 23. And 38. Let's go right there.
Behold, your house is left unto you desolate.
So that's what we was talking about in Daniel 9, 26 through 27. Go ahead.
For I say unto you, ye shall not see me henceforth, till ye shall say, blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord.
Now watch this. Go right into the 24th chapter. Watch this, y'all. Go ahead.
And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, see ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. Because
he took them right and showed them right to 70 AD, when the sanctuary and the city will be destroyed. So now let's go to Luke 19 and 41. Luke 19 and 41. Jesus was walking right there, right to 70 AD. Luke 19 and verse 41. Watch this, as if we never left here, y'all. Luke 19 and verse 41. Read.
And when he was come near, he beheld the city and wept over it.
He looked at Jerusalem, y'all, and wept over it. Watch why he wept. Go ahead.
Saying, if thou hast known, even thou, at least in this thy day, the things which belong unto thy peace. But now they are hid from thine eyes.
Because the abominations were starting to spread, and people weren't paying attention that the coming desolate of Jerusalem was approaching, which is 40 years from Jesus' death and resurrection, y'all. Just like I always state, when the Lord put Israel under the old covenant, when he brought Israel into the wilderness, they were 40 years under the old covenant. And 40 years after the old covenant that the Lord had Israel wander around in the wilderness, just like with Jesus' death and resurrection. It was 40 years that Israel had in the land, y'all. 40 and 40, okay? Both old and new covenants were confirmed. That's why Jesus is that prophet like unto Moses. So we see here the things which belong to thy peace, but now they are hid from thine eyes. Why?
For the day shall come upon thee,
yes, sir,
that thine enemy shall cast a trench about thee,
yes, sir,
pass thee round and keep thee in on every side.
And we're gonna read that, y'all. Go ahead.
And shall lay thee even with the ground, and thy children within thee, and they shall not leave in thee one stone upon another, because thou knewest not the time of thy visitation.
And that what we read at the top of Matthew 24th chapter, y'all, the first 2 verses. That is what we read. Now what we're going to do, we're going to look at the demographics of Jerusalem, and we're going to look at what happened in 70 AD, y'all. Now, this source that I got concerning the demographics of Jerusalem at the time of 70 AD comes from the World Trends, AD 30 through AD 2200, interpreting the annual Christian mega census by David B. Barnett and Ty M. Johnson. Again, this is by David B. Barnett and Ty M. Johnson. Now, in 70 AD, the global status is what we're looking at. In Jerusalem, 1 generation after Christ, world is 0.1% Christian. Well, they just started out now, okay? Anyway, notice of this 0.1% Christians, 85% of them were non-whites. Let's look on the behind on the wall, y'all. What do non-white mean? Black. In other words, Jerusalem was 85% black folks. That was Christians. And then it said 58% white folks. Because we know the opposite of white is what? Black. Hello? So that was Jerusalem's status in 70 AD. Now, I'm going to read this. 70 AD, the obliteration of Jerusalem by Titans. And we're going to get into, I'm going to go into some accounts, y'all. With 4 legions with desolating sacrilege, and it says abomination of desolation. That's an error on the informant's part. Nevertheless, writer's part. Nevertheless, the book is right. That's what I always say. The book is right. Nevertheless, it said, i.e. Roman legions placed in temples before its destruction. There were 600,000 killed in Judea, 10,000 Jews crucified, 90,000 Jews taken to Rome as slaves, and Jews and the Christian Jews scattered abroad, and the destruction of Hebrew Christianity and the end of what they want to call Judaizers. Now let's go and read this in Luke the 21st chapter. Let's go to Luke 21 and verse 20. We read it in history. Now let's read how the book brings it. Then I'm going to go to another account. Because the other, besides us going into slavery, this is probably the second most horrendous thing that ever happened to our people, y'all. I know I may get some debate on that. Nevertheless, that Jerusalem sack is, we're going to read some of the accounts, y'all. But nevertheless, Luke 21 and verse 20. Read.
And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is not.
See, this is what was spoken of in Daniel's the 9th chapter, verses 26 through 27. Okay, this desolation, he says, is nigh thereof. And when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Okay, go ahead.
Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of the depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people.
Notice what we are reading. This is 70 AD history, y'all. It mirrored what I just got through reading on this magazine, and how Jerusalem was 85%, the Christians was 85% black. That's 85. Okay? And he said, and let them which are in the mountains in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst thereof depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereto. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. Now watch this. He said, but woe to them that were child, unto them that get sucked in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. So this thing is talking about a people. What people? Jerusalem. That's why I said, Yah has left to you desolate. That's why I said the prince shall come and shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. That's why we read in the very next verse. Watch what happened to these people. Go ahead.
For these be the days, but woe unto them that are, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
Interesting. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive. Then we read it, led away as slaves, all the way to the point where we led captive to all nations. That's what we dealt with in conditions. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So let me read some more about this siege, y'all. This siege is not a pretty picture, y'all. Listen to this. In the year, my source here, it mentions it, it's written in the thingy. Hold on, let me read to it. So in the year 60 AD, the Jews of Judea rebelled against their Roman masters. In response, Emperor Nero dispatched an army under the generalship of Vespasian to restore order. By the year 68 AD, resistance in the northern part of the province had been eradicated, and the Romans turned their full attention to the subjugation of Jerusalem. That same year, the Emperor Nero died by his own hand, creating a power vacuum in Rome. In the resulting chaos, Vespasian was declared emperor and returned to the imperial city. It fell to his son Titus, who led the remaining army in an assault on Jerusalem. The Roman legion surrounded the city, as we read in Luke 19 chapter verse 41, 44, and began to slowly squeeze the life out of the Jewish stronghold. By the year 70 AD, the attackers had breached Jerusalem's outer wall and began a systematic ransacking of the city. The assault culminated in the burning and destruction of the temple that served as the center of Jerusalem. In victory, the Romans slaughtered thousands of those spared from death. Thousands more were enslaved, sent to toil in the mines of Egypt. Others were dispersed in arenas throughout the empire to be butchered for the amusement of the public. That's Luke 21 and 24. As spoken of in Luke 21, 24, the temple's sacred relics were taken to Rome where they were displayed in celebration of the victory. Let me go here, because this is horrific accounts, y'all. Let me go to this right here. These sources, I'll put them on the website as handouts. Another account of the fall of Jerusalem. The siege of Jerusalem, 70 AD. The fortified capital of the city province quickly turned into a stalemate. Unable to breach the city's defenses, the Roman armies established a permanent camp outside the city, digging a trench around the circumference of his wall. Then the Lord said they're going to put a trench about thee.
Wow, yeah.
This happened, y'all. This is not a joking matter. Anyway, but this is not a fable. History back up the book, and the book back up history. No, nonetheless, it says they dug a trench around about the circumference of his walls and built a wall as high as the city, walls themselves around Jerusalem. Anyone caught in the trench attempting to flee the city would be captured, crucified, because the cross represents the Roman's death instrument, y'all. Jesus' cross represents capital punishment. He didn't say for us to wear his cross, because we all have our own cross to bear, okay?
Amen.
While we learning something, on the way to knowing something. That's why you see people that run around, the cross is a vain thing now, because they don't abuse it, because that don't represent that their crucified was on their flesh. Jesus' cross, he bared his, and we got ours. But I don't want to get into that too much longer. That's another bag of cats. Nevertheless, look, y'all. Those attempting to flee the city will be captured, crucified, and placed in lines on top of the dirt while facing to Jerusalem. The two zealot leaders one called John and another called Simon Bar-Gora, only ceased tried to defend the city, and this is a misnomer. We're gonna clear this up, because I'm gonna show you that Esau, we're gonna find out who Esau, the Edomites, they had a big time hand in us getting took out. Nevertheless, let me go here. Those attempting to escape the city were crucified with as many as 500 crucifixions occurring in a day. During the infighting inside the city walls, a stockpile of supply of dry food was intentionally burned by zealots to induce the defenders to fight against the siege instead of negotiating peace. As a result, many city dwellers and soldiers died of starvation during the siege. Tacitus, a historian of the time, notes that those who were besieged in Jerusalem amounted to no fewer than 600,000. That men and women alike of every age engaged in armed resistance. Everyone who could pick up a weapon did. Both sexes showed equal determination, preferring death to life that involved exposure from their country. Now let me skip down to this part. Following the 7-month siege, because this wasn't just no short thing, y'all. Following the 7-month siege, Titus Flavius, Vespasian's son, eventually used the collapse of several of the city walls to breach Jerusalem. By the summer of 70 AD, the Romans had breached the walls of Jerusalem, ransacking and burning nearly the entire city. The Romans began by attacking the weakest spot, the third wall. It was built shortly before the siege, so it did not have as much time invested in its protection. They succeeded towards the end of May, and shortly afterwards broke through the more important second wall. See, they're knocking out all these walls. There wasn't no walls that was left standing, like Jesus said. Just like the Lord said, y'all. During the final stages of the Roman sack, zealots that held the temple when one of the last fortified bastions of the rebellion was destroyed on July the 30th, 70 AD. All three of Jerusalem's walls were eventually destroyed, as well as the temple and the citadels. The city was then put to the torch, with most survivors taken to slavery. Okay? And it's way worse than the Holocaust. Oh, we're going to talk about that too, y'all. But this is way worse than that. Anyway, they were taken to slavery. Some of those overturned stones and places of impact can still be seen of Titus and Rome depictions. Roman legionaries carried the temple of Jerusalem's treasuries, including the menorah, during Titus' triumphant procession into Rome. And with the fall of Jerusalem, some insurrections still continue in isolated locations in Jerusalem, lasting long beyond 70 AD. And I deal with that when I deal with the persecution of the Christian Jew after 70 AD. Nevertheless, y'all see how horrible this is? This is what happened in 70 AD as the Lord had, that's why he wept, okay? Woo. Anyway, so let's keep it pushing, y'all. Let's go to Ezekiel, 19th chapter. Ezekiel 19 and 1. Ezekiel 19 and verse 1. Ezekiel 19 and 1, then we're going to skip down to verse 4. Ezekiel 19 and 1, read.
Moreover, take thou up a lamentation for the princes of Israel.
See, another lamentation, a very woe lamentation, y'all, when 70 AD hit. Nevertheless, skip down to verse 4.
The nations also heard of him. He was taken in their pit, and they brought him with chains unto the land of Egypt.
Look at the conditions we in. Who came over here and changed y'all? Anyway, yeah, that whole thing went all the way out till we got over here to America. Nevertheless, skip down to verse 8.
Then the nations set against him on every side from the provinces and spread their net over him. He was taken in their pit, and they put him inward in chains and brought him to the king of Babylon. They brought him into holes, that his voice should no more be heard upon the mountains of Israel.
Oh, so this thing went to the point where our voices will no longer be heard upon the mountains of Israel, which means it's 70 AD. Because remember, we read, Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be what? Fulfilled. Therefore, let's go to Amos, 8th chapter, and show you why it said that their voices should no longer be heard upon the mountains of Israel. The people that came over in chains. That's put in a hull of slave ships. Amos 8 and 1. Let's see what 70 AD actually marked, y'all. Remember, it's 85% black. Hello? Think about it. Amos 8 and 1. Watch this, y'all. Read.
That's how the Lord God showed unto me, and behold, a basket of summer fruit.
Now, notice he said the Lord showed unto a basket of summer fruit. Go ahead.
And he said, Amos, what seest thou? And I said, a basket of summer fruit. Then said the Lord unto me, the end is come unto my people of Israel. I will not again pass by them anymore.
Whoa, so when did our nation, when did we cease to be in Jerusalem? In the summer. And we noticed, and that said, well, we read in July. That came about in August, well, my bad, August. And we see here that he said about the summer fruit, then said the Lord unto me, the end is come upon my people. No wonder the Lord said, you shall not go over the cities of Israel until the Lord come back. So we see the end came upon us. That's why we got 184 names. That's the update. I used to be able to say 181. Now they added 3 new names. Because we've been ended a long time, y'all, as a people. Nevertheless, he said, the end is come upon my people. I will not pass by them anymore. Go ahead.
And the songs of the temple shall be howlings in that day.
Oh, in that day. What day you think the Lord talking about? 70 AD. Imagine the people starving, killings, murders. Young, old, it didn't matter. It was slave. You was stripped off into slavery or you was slaved. right there in Jerusalem. That's why he said the songs of the temple shall be hallowed in that day. Go ahead.
Saith the Lord God, there shall be many dead bodies in every place. They shall cast them forth with silence.
Yes, sir. That's why it's the end of God's people in 70 AD. From that point forward, y'all, all the way until they carried us over here. Look. Let's go to Psalms 83, y'all. Yes, sir. Because God's people, Jerusalem was our last standing capital, y'all, as a Hebrew nation. Yup, and it was not a pretty picture in that 70 AD. That's why I say slavery is probably, that sacking of Jerusalem was the second worst thing that happened to us. I don't know, that might be in competition with the castration by our cousin Ishmael. Ooh, man, I don't know, some competition there, y'all. Anyway, look, Psalms 83 and verse 1. Psalms 83 and verse 1. That siege in Jerusalem was horrible. Children were killed, parents, mothers, fathers, everybody. That's why he said, woe to them, they get sucked in that day. Why? Because they didn't even spare the babies. Okay? Anyway, read.
Keep not thy silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
See, God got people that hate him. Okay? Know that. That's why every religion ain't sent from God, y'all. That's why every Christianity don't come from this book. That's why we on book. Watch out, because you got enemies of God that met the Talmud, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. And how they doing it? Go ahead.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones.
So they have taken crafty counsel against thy people. That's why these little strange books that came up after 70 AD, that's the crafty counsel. So they can corrupt or pollute the word of God. How you think, oh, brother, see these false books, no. And you can see the results of dealing with those false books on our way to learn. That's part of the crafty counsel against the people of God. Because after John, the Apostle John, which was 70 AD, wrote Revelation, he put the seal. Anything added after that, going to be added plagues on you. In 90 AD. Yep, 90 AD. That's why they have taken crafty counsel against our people and consulted against our hidden ones. Who you think the hidden ones is, y'all? Right. Child, please, when somebody showed me, hey man, you want to know where the Jew at? I'm like, where he at? He in your shoe, I'm like, wow. You mean to tell me I've been here for myself all that time? Yeah. The Jew in my shoe? Yeah. No. Anyway, we deal with that in the conditions and the colors. Nevertheless, verse 4, read.
They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Oh, you mean the name Israel is the name of a nation? Of course. Get you a Middle East map, and you still see the name Israel on the map, next to Jordan, next to Egypt, next to Kuwait, next to Saudi Arabia. I'm naming nations. Yes, because we the only one running around here with 184 names. Remember when I dropped that paper? I should have put it up now, but I didn't want to chop y'all. Anyway, dang. Nevertheless, he said, they have come and said, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And it has gone full-blown 140 going north, y'all. But I remember somebody said, man, you ain't nothing but a Afro-American with a t-shirt on. I'm like, wow, okay, I get it, I get it. That's how bad or how the gravity of what this verse is, how meaningful this verse is, y'all. Because what they do, go ahead, verse 5.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
With one consent, go ahead.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against thee. That's why you have what they call the Talmud. That got rolled up. That's another crafty counsel. That came up like 200 AD. Long after Israel, y'all, got ripped out the land. Nevertheless, for they consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. Now watch who's at the top of this list, y'all. Go ahead.
The tabernacles of Edom.
Oh, the tabernacles of Edom. We're going to see who this is. Could this be who replaced us, y'all? Interesting. Go ahead.
And the Ishmaelites.
Oh, our cousins, huh? So the Edomites and our cousin Ishmael at the top of the list of those that consulted together against us and are confederate against it. Go ahead.
Of Moab. And the
Hagarenes. Now look, skip down to verse 12, because there's a whole list of people that want to be us, but we don't want to be who we really are. We want to be, oh, I'm glad, I'm black and I'm proud. Oh, what? Okay, I want to be Afro-American. By your hand? Come on, man. But we got a whole list of people that want to be you, but you don't want to be you. You don't even want to be around you. Anyway, dang. I don't want to be around you. Oh, anyway, dang. Anyway, y'all, we looked at them curses, y'all, and we know why. Anyway, but look what the Lord said. But all these people, verse 12, because it's a list of people, y'all. But we're going to get to the crux of the matter. Go ahead.
Who said, let us take to ourselves the house of God in possession.
Oh, so all these people, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You have 15 nationalities that said, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession of what did Jesus say? I know the blasphemers then would say they are Jews and are not. Because you got a lot of people that want to be you. And they call themselves Jews, but they not. Because they have taken the house of God into their possessions. But at the top, Edom, he is the leading contender. But look, we brought this on ourselves. Let's go to Deuteronomy 32, y'all. Because we didn't hearken to our Lord. Deuteronomy 32 and verse 15. Look at the condition lesson when I dropped the list name. I'm like, wow. Deuteronomy 32 and verse 15. This is why the Lord took vengeance, y'all. Deuteronomy 32 and verse 15. Deuteronomy 32 and verse 15. Read.
But Shesharon waxed fat and kicked.
That's talking about us, y'all. Another name the Lord put on us to simplify how his people were acting. Go ahead.
Thou art waxing fat, thou art grown thick, thou art covered with fatness. Then he forsook God which made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation.
Go ahead.
They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods, with abominations provoked they him to anger.
No wonder the Lord said, these are the days of vengeance, that all things may be written, fulfilled which are written. Because we provoked the Lord with jealousy and strange gods, with abominations provoked they him to anger. Even after the Lord came in the flesh and died for our sins. Oh, no. We don't want the blood of Christ. We want the blood of bulls and goats. Okay. That's what they was provoking them with their to anger, jealousy with strange gods, and abominations provoked they him to anger. What else they do?
They sacrifice unto the devil.
Oh, you mean tell the sacrifice of the devil started among us, huh? Interesting. And we sitting there talking about, oh, the white man is the devil. No, I know a lot of black devils too, y'all. Okay? Anyway, dang. But our people, and they provoking the Lord to anger, they sacrificing to devils, not to God. Go ahead.
To gods whom they knew not. To new gods that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not. Of the rock that begat thee thou art unmindful, and has forgotten God that formed thee.
Yes, sir.
And when the Lord saw it, he abhorred them because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters. And he said, I will hide my face from them, and I will see what their end shall be. For they are a very forward generation, children in whom is no faith.
Children in whom is no law. Right. Children in whom there's no fringes. Children in whom there's no praise. And no, the Lord said children in whom there is no what? Faith. That's our biggest problem, y'all. Believing in our God. Right. And he said faith come by hearing, and hear by the what? The word of God. Oh boy, please. That's a whole nother tangent. Anyway, nevertheless, look what the Lord said.
They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God, They have provoked me to anger with their vanity, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation.
And the Lord done definitely did that in so much, y'all. This is what happened, y'all. Skip all the way down to verse 26. Read.
I said, I will scatter them into corners. I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men.
So now the remembrance of Israel, who Israel is so to cease from among men. So we ain't supposed to be running around saying, the Jew in the land. Uh-oh. So who is this that's replaced us? When did they do it? And how did they do it? Oh, we finna get into it, y'all. Let's go to Hosea 4 and 9. Hosea 4 and 9. Oh, we finna open it. We finna take the lid off, y'all. We finna take the blinders off. We gonna show you the way of the Lord and that thing which you ain't gonna get this on tomorrow. It don't even matter. It don't even matter to Roman Christianity, y'all.
Right.
But those that are seeking salvation and to worship God in spirit and in truth, and you want the oracles of God, you got to know who Israel is just to even get half the battle down, y'all. I said half the battle. That's half the fight. Okay? To know who the children of Israel really are. Then you got to find true Israel. That's why I got a lesson about true Israel.
That's right.
Okay? Because like we can read, all Israel is not of Israel. Another reason why. So look, Hosea 4 and verse 9. Because he calls Israel, that's the end of his people. They got ripped out the land. He's going to cause remembrance of them to cease. So now what's happening? Right here, verse 9.
And there should be like people.
There should be like people, because that's what Jewish means. When you say ish, that means like the noun. Like I can act girlish. Why? I'm not a girl, but the ish means to act like a girl. Okay? A woman could be mannish, because she's not a male or a man in the sense of like I am, but she could be like a man. That's why you got the word Jewish, because they wish they was the Jew. They had the wish to be. They ain't the Jew. So like he said, there shall be like people. Like. That's what an ish in the end of a noun means. You're like that. You're not it. You're like it. Because sit up and call me mannish, that'll be foolish. Okay? Anyway. But he said, there shall be like people. Go ahead.
Like priests.
And like priests. That's why you got this Christianity running around. It's like Christ, but it ain't coming from Christ. That's a whole other bag of cash. That's why we dealt and showed you the church last week. So you got like people and like priests. Go ahead.
And I will punish them for their ways.
Yes, sir. Now, go ahead.
And reward them their doom.
Yes, sir. Now look, let's keep this going. Let's keep this going and look at how this thing happened. Let's go to Obadiah 1 and 6. Because you got a lot of people, that's why somebody tell me, is you a Christian? No, no, ain't that. Oh, no, don't call me a Christian, man, because what you got like Christian in your mind, that ain't from this book. Don't call me no Christian, man. God, please. Because that word Christian come up, whoo. Next thing they want to say to the average person, well, what denomination you under? See? That's why I said, look, Bible Christian. They'd be like, oh, Bible Christian, I've heard of that one. I know. Anyway, nevertheless, why did he say at the top of the list of people that want to take the house of the God, why did he put Edom at the top? This is why, y'all. Let's go to Obadiah 1 and 6. Read.
How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up?
Oh, wait a minute now. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? We're going to look at that after I do this. Now, I want to put right here. Now, I have here a poster. On this side, you have what's called the Jewish, when they went through the Holocaust. And on this side, what happened to us. Okay? Now I'm going to flip this around because I want to show you These are the ones that went into chains, into slavery.
Right.
Okay? But you don't see not one of them white, is it? Interesting. Okay? So now, it said Esau, how is this his being salt up? Keep reading.
Okay.
Verse 7.
All the men of the confederacy have brought thee even to the border.
Mm-hmm.
The men that were at peace with thee have decided thee,
Deceived.
deceived thee,
Uh-huh.
and prevailed against thee.
Uh-huh.
They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him.
That's why with us and the so-called Jews, everybody don't like them because they don't like us they don't like them rather for a totally different reason that they don't like us. Us, when we come to the neighborhoods, it's a white flag. And they be like, we out. Okay? Them, they sitting up there, they running the money. They choking it out. They got, oh my God. Anyway, ooh, that's a whole nother bag of cash. Nevertheless, skip down to keep going, verse 8.
Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise man out of Edom?
So we see Edom is Esau, okay? Shall I not even destroy the wise men out of Edom? Go ahead.
And understanding out of the mouth of Esau.
And the Lord has done it, because I'll never forget, I was down at the Judea College in Columbia University, Columbia College downtown Chicago. And I went to one of these Judaic seminars. Yeah, I investigate, y'all. I'm just sit back and I've been in this a minute. Anyway, so I went and asked this Edomite, when the little doctor put his head. I said, hey, you know what? Wasn't Peter a Jew? He said, yeah. Wasn't John a Jew? Yeah. Jack, all those are Jews, right? Yeah, they're Jews. Yes, they were. I said, why they said Jesus came and y'all didn't? He was like, I never thought of that. Yeah, I know. Because of what we just read, even destroyed the wise men out of Edom and the understanding out of the mount of Esau. So when you directly approach them, oh my gosh. I've had many encounters with these Edomites and asked them very simple questions. And they're like, I never thought of that. Anyway, nonetheless, go ahead. Verse 9.
And thy mighty men unto men shall be dismayed, to the end that everyone of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter.
And that was the Holocaust, y'all, when that happened. That's why that thing went down. Everything was being fulfilled in its time, in its place, on people, certain things, in certain places, in certain ways. So he dealt with Esau with the Holocaust. Nevertheless, watch this. Verse 10.
For thy violence against thy brother Jacob.
Oh, so Esau, a.k.a. Edom, he is the brother of Jacob. So for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, go ahead.
Shame shall cover thee.
Yes, sir.
And thou shalt be cut off forever.
Uh-huh. And that's yet to be fulfilled. We're going to see when they get to cut off. That's why it's so important that even they be born again. Okay? So they can come out of this decree that the Lord will put on the descendants of Esau.
Right.
They must be born again by Christ in his word. Nevertheless, verse 11.
And the day that thou stoodest on the other side,
Yes, sir.
and the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou was as one of them.
Oh, even thou says, what? One of them? Yes, sir. And we're going to look at in detail how they managed to pull it off. So he said, look, in the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captives his forces, and foreigners entered to his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou was as one of them. So Esau was in there, his descendants in there, right there. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
But thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother, and the day that he became a stranger.
Oh, that's what, after that, we became strangers, y'all, in the day. We became strangers after that, y'all. That's why they look at you, they be like, you come from Africa. They're African, you African, you colored, you Portuguese, oh boy. Anyway, because we became strangers, y'all. And notice it said, in the day that we became strangers, what else did Esau do? Go ahead.
Neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction.
Oh, that's why the Lord said, it is come upon my people, because guess what? These are the ones that assumed our identity. That's why Jesus told, and it was revealed by the apostle, through the apostle John in 90 AD. I know the blasphemy of them will say they are Jews and are not. Because this here he talking about 70 AD, but the apostle John wrote what he wrote in 90 AD, after 70 AD. See, that's why understanding chronological things in the order with the book will reveal a lot of things, and you'll be like, oh, now I know who did this. It is Esau's descendants who what? Thou shouldest not, who they rejoiced over the destruction of Judah in the day of their destruction. What else did they do?
Neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress.
Then Jesus said there should be great distress on this people, wrath on this people. We talking about Israel right here, y'all.
Right.
But they was rejoicing, the children of Edom. Go ahead.
Thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity.
Oh, no wonder the Lord said, I know the blasphemy of them will say they are Jews and they're not. Because everything they got that's called Jewish, that's ours. They take it from us. They lay hand on the substance in the day of our calamity, y'all. Only thing that don't belong to us, well, they took their star riffraff to y'all. They just so they could be Jewish. They took everything, including the bad things about Israel. They should have left that alone. Anyway, dang. Nevertheless, he said, thou shouldst not have entered to the gates of my people in the day of their calamity, yet thou shouldst not have looked in on their affliction in the day of the calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of the calamity. Go ahead, verse 14.
Neither shouldest thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape. Neither shouldest thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress.
Now watch this. Look how long they're going to be there. Let's skip all the way. Let's skip to verse, go to 17.
But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there should be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possession.
Oh, but upon the Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions, because we ain't got it now. The land is occupied by the Edomites and the Gentiles, and a list a whole host of other people. Notice, he said they shall possess their possessions. And look, when the Lord come back, skip down to verse 21. Let's see who he's going to find there. Go ahead.
And saviors should come up on the Mount of Zion.
Oh, wait a minute. He said, and saviors. Why is he saying saviors? Because when you raise up all those saints at that last resurrection, at the first resurrection, when that trumpet sound, the Lord bringing up God. In other words, remember, we're going to be back until Christ. We're going to be partakers of his glory. And it's going to be at that time, saviors shall come upon what? Mount Zion. That's where the Lord's throne going to be at, y'all. According to Jeremiah 3:17. Go ahead. To do what?
To judge the mount of Esau.
Oh, so that's why they got to have land till the Lord come back. That's why I don't want to run over there now. Esau's supposed to be there. It ain't not time to take the land. That's why I know some of my Hebrew brethren went back and capitulated to the Edomites' rules of, circumcision. Anyway, nevertheless, this is showing us how long Esau going to be there. This is the one the Lord is talking about when he said, I know the blasphemy of them, which say they are Jews and not. Because Esau, he's going to be there till the Lord come back and judge the amount of Esau. Go ahead.
And the kingdom shall be the Lord.
And the kingdom shall be the Lord, y'all. So let's go to Psalms 137. Psalms 137 and 5. Psalms 137 and verse 5. We see who, and we're going to look at how. We know when. We see who, and we're going to look at how they did it, y'all. Psalms 137, and start at verse 5. Read.
If I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning. If I do not forget thee,
If I do not remember thee.
If I do not remember you, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy.
See, this is what's going to be our chief joy. We can't wait to get to Jerusalem, y'all. When the Lord come back and judge Esau. Right there. This is our chief joy. Because it's going to be called the throne of the Lord. Because Jeremiah 3:17. But notice this, y'all. Verse 7.
Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof.
Oh, and then it's also written, remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of what? Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundations thereof. So let's look how they manipulated this thing, y'all. Now, one of the key figures, I want to bring this up, was Johanan ben Zachariah. Let me bring this information up quick. Because this guy was instrumental in Esau taking the land. Very instrumental. Now the source of this is the Britannica Encyclopedia. Johanan ben Zachariah, first in the 1st century AD. Now, let me get down to what let me just read. He was a Palestinian Jewish sage, a founder of an academy, and an authoritative rabbinical body at Jamna. Now, Jamna was just outside of Jerusalem. Let me bring this up because we're going to need to look at this. And who had a decisive influence on the continuance and development of what's called traditional Judaism before and after 70 AD. Okay? Now, as in the case with all Talmud teachers, the rabbis who interpreted or applied the oral law, little strictly biographical information about Johanan ben Zachariah has been preserved. Let me skip down to this one. Thus, what can be reported essentially about Johanan is this. Even before AD 70, he acted as a leading representative of the Pharisees in debate with priestly and Sadducean authorities. The Pharisees stressed rigorous observance of the law, inclusion of the oral tradition as normative, and an interpretative adaptation of traditional precept to new situations. However, the Sadducees, an elitist conservative group, accepted only the written law as authoritative and were more literate and static in their interpretation. Now, these people dominated the land before 70 AD. Because if you go and read Israel that was a Christian, were persecuted. There was conflicts amongst us before the Romans came in, and then those of us that continued to believe on Jesus, we had to go up against the ones outside of the land. So it got even crazier. Now that's why we need the Holy Ghost to be our what? He was sent as a comforter because the Lord knew that they that depart from evil will come under persecution, or those that live godly will suffer persecution. Amen. So let me continue this right here. So in 70 AD, let me read this thing. Let me get to major point here. By quitting and beleaguering Jerusalem, according to most accounts, in 70 AD, because he saw what was coming, y'all. Because remember, this thing kind of kicked off in 66 AD and came to a head in 70 AD. Because you can see some accounts of if we went into how the apostles died, and they died some brutal deaths, y'all. Okay, Paul was crucified, Peter was crucified upside down in Rome. Paul was killed. Nevertheless, here in 70 AD is where we at. This guy, he somehow succeeded in getting permission to set up an academy in Jabna, near the Judean coast, and there he was joined by a number of his favorite disciples. Two of them, Eleazar ben Harkanas, an Edomite, and Joshua ben Hannah, another Edomite, who are credited with having smuggled their masters out of Jerusalem in a coffer, where it came to become, by the end of the century and the beginning of the following one, the leading teachers of their generation, and had profound influence on the greatest scholars of the next generation of rabbinical Judaism. So what they did was, since everybody that was in the land was considered a Jew, And your practice also, that's why you see Christians running around, oh, you must be into Judaism because you keep the Sabbath day. No, the Lord said do that. Nevertheless, the Gentiles look at it different. If you're doing what the Jew said do, that makes you into Judaism. So we deal with that when we deal with the different types of Christianity. Nevertheless, the point I'm trying to make is they carried on the practice to look like Jews. And everybody was calling them Jews because they inhabit the land and they did the things that the Pharisees and the Sadducees did. That's why you have modern day Judaism, which came from us. So we're going to get into some of the sects that were around the time during 70 AD by looking at the Herodians, who are the descendants of Esau or the Edomites, by doing this. So let's do ourselves a favor and go to Genesis 25. Because Esau or the Edomites are actually our brothers. Yes. Indeed, I know hard as it may be, nevertheless they come out, we have the same mother. The children of Esau have the same mother as the children of Israel. Okay? So let's go, put this over here. Let's go to Genesis 25 and 19. Now what I want to do is, before I get there, is show you how close Edom's descendants were to us. Because Edom had a kingdom that was just south of the kingdom of Judah, and at the time, this is taken when we had the kingdom of Israel. When the northern tribes got took out, the only kingdom that remained is the kingdom of Judah. Okay? And Edomites have always been right there by us. Always. This is two brothers. It's literally the descendants of Esau and the descendants of Jacob. Right side by side. Okay? So now, let's get to the scripture and go to Genesis 25 and 19. Genesis 25 and 19. Genesis 25. Let's start there, verse 19. Read.
And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Aram, the sister to Laban, the Syrian. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, because she was barren. And the Lord was entreated of him. And Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb.
Also, a child represents a nation.
Amen.
So notice how the Lord said to the Lord, y'all, a child in a mother's womb represents a nation. And the Lord said, 2 nations are in thy what? Womb. And 2 what? Go ahead.
And 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people. And the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment.
Now I want y'all to pay close attention to this. Notice we say 2 manner of people, 2 nations. And notice in the womb, he said already said from the bowels, the one people shall be stronger than the other people. And the elder, which means the first one that come out, shall serve the what? The younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were what? Twins in her womb. Okay, so we're going to see what the name of these twins are. Go ahead. Read. Oh, sorry. Then you read. And the first came out red. I want y'all to make sure you understand, keep that word red in your head from now. Okay? Go ahead.
All over like a hairy garment. And they called his name. Esau.
So this red guy that came out was hairy like a garment. They called his name Esau. Why did I say remember this word red? Hold this spot. And let's go all the way to Revelations, the 12th chapter. Because during the time that Jesus was born, King Herod was the king that reigned over Jerusalem. And you had the Herodians that took it all the way out to 70 AD and beyond. Let me bring that up. Yeah. And we're going to get into his descendants, y'all. Look, Revelation 12 chapter and verse, Revelation 12 and 1. Revelation 12 and 1. Go ahead.
And there appeared, excuse me, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
Now we can prove to you that this is none other than the 12 tribes of Israel. This woman represents the church with the 12 tribes. Go ahead.
And she being with child cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered.
Now this child that she be in pain with is Jesus. But watch this, y'all. Go ahead.
And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon.
At this time it said, normally it calls Satan a great dragon. But this time it said, behold, a great red dragon. Notice the imagery here. This great red dragon, go ahead.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head.
Because he was embedded with the Gentiles, okay? Because they were ruling Jerusalem at the time. Go ahead.
And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born.
Now let's go to Matthew's the 2nd chapter. Matthew's the 2nd chapter. We're focusing on Esau just for a hot minute. Matthew 2 and 1. Read.
Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem.
So now, this is before 70 AD, Herod was ruling. He represented that great red dragon that was there when Jesus was to be born. Now watch this, go ahead.
Saying, where is he that is born, King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and are come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him.
Yeah, Herod was a madman, y'all. I think I might get a little bit of that in here. Forgive me if I don't. Nonetheless, skip down to verse 13.
And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him.
Now Herod was a descendant of Esau. I want to go to this chart. I think I need to bring it up for our Facebook people. I'll bring it up there. So you can look at it. I had this in the video so you can get a good close shot at it. Nonetheless, let me point something out on this chart. Herod the Great was an Edomite who came out of Antioch, which was his father, which was an Idumean. Now, we read Esau. Let's go over here. He was out of Isaac too. He was the son of Isaac, and we're going to read where Jacob is his son. So now, remember he came out red. Now, Genesis 12 and 25 tells us he was the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau, because you can see his blood. And it continues, you see, that's what the Gentiles, you can see the blood behind the skin, whereas for dark people of pigmentation, you can't see the blood. That's the difference between us and the Gentiles, or light skin or red bone. Nevertheless, especially with the Gentile. Nevertheless, this is the color of the baby that came out of our mother. And we came out the same mother, y'all. So let's go back to this Genesis right quick. Let's go back to Genesis, the 25th chapter, and continue and watch Jacob come out. These are the people, these are the people that got the land now. They are the descendants of Esau. So now let's read when Jacob came out. Genesis 25 and 25 and 26. Read.
And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she buried him.
So notice, buried them was Esau and Jacob. We got our daddies have the same mama. So the people that's occupying the land now that's calling themselves Jews, the Edomites, those are our brothers. Literally, we got the same mother, y'all. Except for we different colors. Because it said, and his brother, and his name was, after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel. So now we also see who the elder is. Who's the elder? Esau. Who's the younger? Jacob. And his name was called Jacob, and Isaac was 80 old when she buried him. Go ahead.
And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau, because he did eat of his vengeance. But Rebekah loved Jacob, and Jacob saw it parted.
So Jacob was a mama's boy. Oh, anyway, keep going.
And Esau came from the field and was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage.
Notice this theme of red. The Lord is trying to get us to pay attention to that. Because when you understand that that's symbolizing that you can see this kid, that the Gentile, Esau, they're the ones that's running the land now, y'all. They still there. And it says, and Esau said unto Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Go ahead.
Therefore was his name called Edom.
So we see Edom, the same as Esau. Go ahead.
And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die. And what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he swore unto him. And he sold his birthright unto Jacob.
And he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Now you got other accounts that say, oh, Jacob stole that birthright. He's a usurper. All manner of enemy talk, y'all. Nonetheless, we just read what actually happened. Irregardless of what you hear about Jacob stealing the birthright and all that, even having some of these Bible commentaries, Jacob stole it. We just read in this book, Esau sold his birthright, and they ain't forgave us ever since, y'all. Keep going.
Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright.
That he's been despising ever since. Now let's go to the 26th chapter, and I'm going to go to verse 17. Let's see if I'm going to go there, because he made a promise to do something to his brother, y'all. And I want to read that. Let's go to 27. I'm sorry, let's go to Genesis 27. Because now when the exchange of the birthright was actually to take place, this whole transaction had already been called by God. It had already been settled. This is just the exchange. You know how we can go read when the Lord declared matter? That's a wrap.
That's right.
So everything that's happened from that point forward was the intention of fulfilling what thus said the Lord. Okay? That's all that this 26th chapter and the 27th chapter was fulfilling. So I want to go to the 27th chapter, and Esau made a promise, y'all. He said something. Let me find this. This is in 27, and because he despised, and he said he made a promise. Let's go to 27:41. Genesis 27:41.
41.
Yep.
And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him.
So everything had been fulfilled as God said. The elder should serve the younger, fulfilling God's word. Nevertheless, Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. Go ahead.
And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother.
Look, y'all, it's been going on ever since. Fulfilling the word of God. That's why Esau is in the land till the Lord come back and his descendants gonna be judged, y'all. They are going to be judged. Now let's go to Hebrews 12 chapter and confirming that he did indeed sell his birthright. Hebrews 12 and 14. The book said to the law and the testimony that they speak not according to this word. Let every matter be established by two or what? More witnesses. So we're going to get a witness. It's really promoted that Jacob stole the birthright. Man, look. Hebrews 12 and start at verse 14. Read. Yeah, Hebrews 12 and 14.
Follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord.
See, nonetheless, we got to live peace with all men, even our brethren, y'all. That's how our job is to get them born again. Hello? Because they sure need it, just like we need it. Everybody need it. Okay? Nonetheless, watch this. Verse 15.
Looking diligently, lest any man fail of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled.
See, that's why that hatred doctrine that come out from among Israel, it says, lest the what? Fell in the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness. And that's some bitter doctrine that's out there, motherfucker. I said, no, man, look, I'm a Bible Christian, not a hating Christian. Hello? So we don't, as I said, everybody could be that. Even the Edomite, he can't be calling himself Israel because he already doing that. Okay? He got to be born again. He got to be a Bible Christian. Okay? I have no problem with nobody, man. I mean, really. Really. Because look what it says right here. Finish.
Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright.
The book said in the law and the testimony that Esau did what? He sold his birthright. Nevertheless, you got people running around with that bitterness and the hatred that they formulated all these years, and they're speaking contrary to this. Keep going.
For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected.
Yes.
For he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears.
Because it was finished. It was a done deal. When Isaac blessed Jacob with the blessing that the Lord had already declared from the womb. Lord, when the Lord declared, look, either we're going to be in it or you're going to get run over by it. Hey, we try to be in it, y'all. Okay, all of us. We try to be in the Lord's will and in the Lord's plan. Nevertheless, let's go to Ezekiel 25th chapter. I'm sorry, no, I want to go to 1 Chronicles. 1 Chronicles 1 and 34. 1 Chronicles 1 and 34. Now watch this. It tells us clearly how our relationship to the Edomites is. There's go to another show. You can have a black child and a white child in the same womb. Because look at the Edomites. They are that color. Then you can see their blood. Okay? Now I just want to, as we go here, Abraham had Isaac. Isaac had Jacob and Esau. Esau had the Edomites, to which Herod the Great came out. And Herod was a madman. This guy, woo! So I have up here Esau as a boy's name, pronounced Esau. It is of Hebrew origin, meaning Esau is Herod. And he was born covered in red hair and was skilled as an adventurous hunter. And them Edomites is over there in the land. They're adventurous fighters. That's why that 6-day war, or they know how to do combat. And Israel know how to do combat too, y'all. That's why we're some fierce fighters. Okay? Anyway, right here, this one he had been married 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wives. Okay? So his descendants rule over the land all the way down to Agrippa. Let me raise this up. Agrippa II, which is Acts 25th chapter. All these are the descendants of the Edomites that rule over the land of Israel. Now, in particular, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me go here. Chronicles 1 and 34. Chronicles 1 and verse 34. Read.
And Abraham begot Isaac, the son of Isaac, Esau and Israel.
Now see, Abraham begat who? Isaac. And the sons of Isaac is Esau and Israel. Okay, so those are our brothers, y'all. You went on Israel, and they're in the land, and they are like us. That's why they say Israeli. We Israel, and they Israeli. Okay? Okay, that's why the Lord said, I know the blasphemies them will say they are Jews, and are not. Now, here's how they became infused into to being Jews. I want to go back into history. Where's my source up? Yeah, I grabbed this out of from Wikipedia. But there's other sources. I do have things, the resources for a lot of stuff on our website. Nevertheless, this is a lot of historical items that you can find in various history books, y'all. I mean, these things here are not hard to find. So I'm going into 165 BC. And in 165 BC, this is history. You can go, I even have it in one of my historical books, Bibles, in between the Testaments, when the Maccabees successfully revolted against Antiochus and Epiphanes and allowed for rededication of the temple. That's why you have the dedication of the temple, Hanukkah. That's why that was observed as a silver holiday on the way to learning something. But I want to point this out. The Idumeans at this time is 165 BC, the same as Esau, Edoms, was forced into partaking of the circumcision. So when the Maccabees forced the Idumeans to partake in circumcision, they became known as what you call your Jewish people. Because they felt everybody that did anything that's a Jew made you what? Jewish. Okay? And this is on the forced circumcision. Let me go to another source here. But I want to go in the sense of taking us to the Herodians, because the Herodians were conspiring with Jesus, and Jesus even told us, and let's go to Mark 8 and 15. Mark 8 and 15. Mark 8 chapter and verse 15. Let me get my things here. Mark 8 and 15. Okay. Mark 8 and 15. Get some. Read.
And he charged them, saying, Take heed, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the leaven of Herod.
Oh, so he said, take heed of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the what?
The leaven of Herod.
Of Herod. Now, let's go to Mark 3:16. 3 and 6, rather. Let's go to Mark 3 and 6. Because the leavening of Herod is what began to, because they had their father's plan in mind to slay their brother, and we read to take that substance, the substance of Israel, and to assume the blessing of the land, the possession of the land. So Mark 3 and verse 6. Mark 3 and verse 6. But before we go there, let me go here. This is now this source here I have. Anyway, look, the Idumeans, or Edom in Hebrew, was in the region of southern Judea. Make sure we get this. Southern Judea. They inhabited, Edom was periodically subject to Judea under David and Solomon in the 10th century, and under the Maccabees under the 2nd century BC, and the homeland of the house of Herod. And there was no natural boundaries between Idumea and Judea. So right here, there's no natural boundaries. So that's why I say they sit right next door to each other. And the distinction between Edomites and Jews was blurred by John Hyrcanus' forced conversion of Idumeans to Judaism in the year 130 BC. And during the first century CE, there was pressure by the Arabs, the Nabateans, and they pushed the territory of the Edomites to within 15 miles of Jerusalem. The region was bound by the city of Gaza on the west and the Dead Sea on the east. Herod's wilderness fortress of the Masada that served was the final base of, notice, Jewish resistance. Now, why would they call it Jewish resistance? Because the Herodians have been partakers of what they call Judaism. Let me pull that information up. And let me go here. I got page 2. That's what I need. Now, this comes out of the Atlas of the Bible. Okay? Page 148, the return. At some point no later than 522 BC, a second group of Babylonian Jews came to Jerusalem and then settled east of its own town. The list of these towns are in Ezra 2, second chapter, verse 2 through 35, and Nehemiah 7, chapter, verse 6 through 38, and indicate the returning of the Jews and established themselves in an area roughly 40 miles east by 40 miles west, 30 miles north to south, in the hills of the country of Judea. On the east extended on the Jordan Valley around Jericho, while to the west they penetrated the coastal plains and settled in what's called Lod and Ono. To the north, and they reached beyond the old borders of Judea to Bethel, and in the south they held a strategic site of Bezer, which was cut off from Hebron, which is in the hands of the Edomites. Although the area was small, the Jews controlled the vital approaches to the highlands, yet they could not be secured until Jerusalem, the leading city in place of the ultimate refuge, which was refortified. Now this comes out of the circles of ancient civilization concerning Petra, Edom, and the Edomites, page 369 through page 37. History of the Idumeans. Judea and the Idumeans, by George Adam Smith, states that the Idumeans of that time, to include the southern Shapol with the Negad, adding that the Edomites had come upon it during the Jewish exiles, and after the return of the Jews, they continued to hold a greater part of it. Whatever the extent of the Idumeans originally may have been, it is certain that when the sons of Esau came to Palestine in the 6th century BC, they sailed in close approximation to stood face to face with their old age brother and rivals, the sons of Jacob. When Cyrus in 336 BC dislodged them from certain parts of Judea in order to give the returned exiles of Israel a foothold, we do know, but to dislodge them from certain parts of Judea in order to give the returned exiles of Israel a foothold, we do not know. But it's most likely, as I would observe 3/4 of a century ago, that the monarch was by no means prepared to expel the Idumeans from the land which they had already occupied and cultivated for 50 to 60 years. Because see, Esau, they wanted this land. They want the land. They want the blessing to have the land and call themselves Jews. They got it now. That's why the Lord said, the blasphemers there will say they are Jews and are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan. So now let me go back into the book. See, do I need to? No. So let's go back in the book, and this time, let's go to, we read that Mark 3 and 6. We read that?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's go to Ezekiel 35. Ezekiel 35th chapter. You sure you read that Mark 3? Hold on. Make sure, because there's a key point I want to make sure we understand. No, go back to Mark. I'm sorry. Go back to Mark 3 and 6. Because there's a term I want everyone to be mindful of that exists in the New Testament. And we're going to read Mark 3 and 6 down to verse 8. Read.
And the Pharisees went forth, and straightway took counsel with the Herodians against him, how they might destroy him.
Now look, they wanted to destroy Jesus, and the Herodians were the priestly class that dealt with, because I want to read about the Herodians, because I want to make sure we get a good fix on the Herodians here. Make sure we got these guys. We did that, and the Herodians. I want to talk about the Herodians. Make sure we got them. Make sure we got these. Because the Herodians was a significant group that was also with Israel in the land, and they were the ones that were circumcised and called themselves Jews. Hold on. I don't want to read this. Herod the Idumean. Here we go, Herodians. Okay. The Herodians, now this comes out of, the source of this is Encyclopedia Britannica, the 11th edition, Cambridge University Press. The Herodians were a sect or party mentioned in the New Testament as having two occasions, once in Galilee and again in Jerusalem, manifested unfriendly disposition towards Jesus. In each of these cases, their name is coupled with that of the Pharisees, according to many interpretations. In Mark 3 and 6, Matthew's 12th chapter, verse 13, Matthew's 22 and 16, also Mark 8 and 15, Luke 13, verses 31 through 32, and Acts 4 and 27. In each of these cases, the name of the Idumeans are coupled with the Pharisees, according to many interpretations and the courtesies of soldiers. Herod, Antipas, the Mennonites, Herodias, Jerome, are intended, but more probably the Herodians were a political party, they were a public political party who distinguished themselves from the two great historical parties of the post-exile Judaism, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, by the fact that they were and had been sincerely friendly to Herod the Great. Why? Because that's who the Herodians were named after, Herod's descendants. So these Herodians, all these people, the Herodians were a part of the Edomites, the descendants of Esau. So now, let me continue on. Let me pick it back up here. They were a political party who distinguished themselves from the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and by that fact, they have been sincerely friendly to Herod the Great. It is possible that to gain adherents, the Herodians party may have been in the habit of representing the establishment of the Herodian dynasty, which would be favorable to the realization of a theocracy, and this in turn account for the pseudo-Tertullian's allegations that the Herodians regarded Herod himself as the Messiah. So they were really enthralled in taking the land all along while we were there. And when 70 AD hit, boom, we got it now, y'all. We done took them boys out. It's ours. So now let's go to Ezekiel. That's out of the Encyclopedia Britannica. Now let's go to Ezekiel. Did we finish that? No, we didn't. Keep reading.
But Jesus withdrew himself with his disciples to the sea, and a great multitude from Galilee followed him, and from Judea, and from Jerusalem, and from Idumea,
right,
and from beyond Jordan, and they about Tyre and Sidon, and great multitude. And when they had heard what great things he did, came unto him.
Now look, this Idumea was there when Jesus was there. Now let's go to Ezekiel. Let's go to Ezekiel, the 25th chapter. Ezekiel, the 25th chapter. Now watch this. Ezekiel 25, and we're going to go right to verse 12. Ezekiel 25 and verse 12. Read.
Thus saith the Lord God, because that Edom hath dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and hath greatly offended and revenged himself upon them.
Remember Esau said, look, in the day, mama, I'm going to get my brother.
Right.
Remember we read that? See, it's in them. It's in them. That's why they must be born again. They got to come out of this, because thus said the Lord God, that Edom had dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and have greatly offended and revenged himself upon them. How are you doing that? By taking the identity. By taking the land. That's who running it. That's who, when they call it, they say the Orthodox Jew. Then you got the converts and the Khazars and all the Gentiles that dominate. We all live in the times of the Gentiles. But what they call the Orthodox Jew, that's Esau. Descendants, right there, y'all. And that's why you got the different sects of Judaism, y'all. I don't want to go into that. That's a whole different bag of cats in about another hour. And it'll take me another hour to explain it. Nevertheless, read verse 13.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord God, I will also stretch out my hand upon Edom, and will cut off men and beasts from it, and I will make it desolate from Teman, and they of Dedan shall fall by the sword.
Yes, sir.
And I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel.
Oh, he said, I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people. What? Israel. So that's why it's always conflict, y'all. It's conflict between us. Unless we're in a position of serving them, then we all good. Anyway, dang. Nevertheless, I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel. Go ahead.
And they shall do in Edom according to my anger and according to my fury.
Yes, sir.
And they shall know my vengeance, saith the Lord God.
Now look, let's go to Ezekiel 35th chapter. Ezekiel 35 and verse 1. Because we're going to knock that doctrine in the head. The synagogue of Satan, exposed, y'all. So we understand who did it, when they did it, and how they did it. Now we're going to see how the Lord going to deal with this thing. Ezekiel 35 and verse 1. Read.
Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it.
Now why did he say that, y'all? Hold this spot, and let's go to Genesis 36 and verse 1. Hold that, and let's go to Genesis 36 chapter. And we're going to read two verses. 36 and 1, then we skip it down. Read Genesis 36 and 1.
Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom.
So we know that. Esau is Edom. Now skip down to verse 8.
Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom.
So we see that Esau dwelt in what? Mount Seir, and Esau is Edom. So let's go back. So we see he's straight up talking about Esau and his descendants. Son of man, set thy face against Mount. We could have said Mount Esau or Mount Edom and prophesy against it, because that's what talking about Esau. Is when you say Seir, Mount Seir, you're talking about Esau. Go ahead, verse 3.
And say unto it, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. And I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord.
Because see, right now, they running the land. Remember, Jesus said, you should not have gone over the city of what? Israel till he come back. So right now, the land is called Seir. It really is. When you read the Bible, when you understand why Jesus said, I know the blasphemous will say they are Jews and are what? Not. Notice. That's why I said, I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord. Go ahead.
Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword.
Yes, sir.
In the time of their calamity.
So they was right there in 70 AD. Getting that blood too. So they was right there with the force of the sword in the time of the calamity in the what?
In the time that their iniquity had an end.
Look, that's when the Lord rooted us out. Okay? He rooted us out of that. Go ahead.
Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee.
That's why as long as I have been living looking at Jerusalem, they've always had some mosque blow up. Boom, you know, they're trying to get this peace treaty. Continues. I'm like, man, it's like, when they gonna get peace over there, man? I used to think that, wow, Jerusalem, really, you go over there, you know, you start to get blown up. This is why there's no peace in that land, y'all. Because he said, blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. That's why there's no peace in the land. That's why the Palestinians and the Arabs and that's why they got the faction and all that's going on. The Lord will settle the controversy of Jerusalem. Amen. Go ahead.
Thus will I make my seer most desolate, and cut off from it him that passes out, and him that returneth. And I will fill his mountains with his slain men.
Yes, sir.
In thy hills, and in thy valleys, and in all thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword.
That's why the wars were going on. That's why they had to put the iron shield up, because they worried about this. That's why it's like that, y'all. That's how we know. We're not in the land, and Esau got the land. They call themselves Jews, Israelis, but it's really Mount Seir over there, y'all, because of the indwelling of the descendants of Esau. Gentiles running now. Nevertheless, we see, he said, I will make thee perpetual desolate. He said, I will fill his mouth with slain men in thy hand. That's why Bum probably went off early this week. They ain't saying nothing about it. I know Bum gonna go off next week, 2 weeks from there. Why? Because of what we read it. Oh, there's some fierce fighters. Yes, sir. Nevertheless, it's going to be like that till the Lord come back. Because he said, you shall have now gone over the cities of Israel until the Son of Man be come in. So until then, I will make thee perpetual desolation. Thy city shall not return, and you shall know that I am the Lord. Go ahead.
Because thou hast said, these two nations.
Oh, he said, because these two nations, look, they got the land, y'all. That's why they got the whole thing of Israel. I should have had the map of Israel to show you that whole thing. He said, because you said, these two nations, go ahead.
Because these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas the Lord was there.
Oh, so we talking after the Lord, huh? Notice what it says, because thou hast said, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it. Whereas the Lord was there. So that means this happened after Jesus' death and resurrection. When? In 70 AD. Who? The Edomites. How? By assuming our identity. Keep going.
Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God, I will even do according to thy anger, and according to thine envy, which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them. And I will make myself known among them, when I have judged them.
See, the Lord is making himself known among us. That's why I was looking at this piece they did on, you know, they did a thing in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. They said, how do you feel about the Messiah, Jesus Christ? And some of the comments that was coming out of my mouth, oh, he's a fable. The Messiah? Christ, he ain't came yet. That guy, oh, he was what they call Hamashiach. He was a nice man. He did some nice things. You know, he just had the wrong understanding of Judaism. You know, all that foolishness. That's why the Lord just said, I'm going to make myself known among us. Those of us that know who, what, when, and how we got replaced in Jerusalem. We know why they said the Messiah ain't came. We understand what the tenets of Judaism is. It is without Christ. They said the Messiah ain't came yet. Yet Peter, James, John, the apostles, and Paul, all of them accept Christ. And they was of the nation of Israel, y'all. That's why he said, I'm going to make myself known among them when I have judged thee. Go ahead.
And thou shalt know that I am the Lord, and that I have heard all thy blasphemies. which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying, they are laid desolate, they are given us to consume.
See, they are saying the land belongs to us. That's why they say the Palestinian settlements and all. Yeah, we understand. I sit back, I be like, I get it. I understand why they negotiate. That's why he said, I've heard the blasphemies which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying, they are laid waste, they are given to us to consume. Go ahead.
Thus with your mouth ye have boasted against me, and have multiplied your words against me. I have heard them.
See, and the words see, the Messiah, it's actually a fable. See, the Messiah has to come here. I've heard, I'm like, wow, listen to these Jewish people. They said the Lord ain't came back. That's what Judaism is full of these words that are boast against the Messiah. And he said, I see you multiply your words against him. That's why they went and wrote the Talmud, so they could have them a little book. Okay, that the Babylonian Talmud. Oh, that's, look, anyway, that's another bag of cats. Nonetheless, verse 14.
Thus saith the Lord God, when the whole earth rejoiceth, I will make thee desolate.
Wow. Skip down to verse 36, chapter 36. We almost done.
Also, thou son of man, prophesy unto the mountains of Israel, and say, ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord God, because the enemy has said against you, aha, even the ancient high places are ours in possession.
Oh, so they got the ancient high places in possession? Again, now we know why Jesus said it twice. I know the blasphemers that will say they are Jews and are not by the synagogue of what? Satan. Therefore, go ahead.
Therefore, prophecy.
No, skip down to verse 5. Skip down to verse 5.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord God, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession.
Hey, wait a minute, we was talking to Esau, wasn't we? We was talking to Edom, wasn't we? We was talking about Seir, wasn't we? Oh, so we see Idumea is all of them. One and the same. Because against all the Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession. That's why it's called Mount Seir now. It really is. And the Gentiles running it. Go ahead.
With the joy of all their heart, with the spiteful minds to cast it out for a prey. Prophesy therefore concerning the land of Israel, and say unto the mountains, and to the hills, and to the rivers, and to the valleys, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I have spoken my jealousy and my fury, because ye have borne the shame of the heathen. Oh, so those are heathens really over there, not us. Because they denied that Christ came. And you got all manner of abominations going on. That's why he said, I have spoken my jealousy and in my fury, because you have borne the shame of the heathens. Go ahead. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God, I have lifted up my hand. Surely the heathen that are about you, they shall bear their shame. But ye, O mountains of Israel, ye shall shoot forth your branches, and yield your fruit to my people of Israel, for they are at hand to come. Oh, so they are not there. They are at hand to what? Come. So let's go look at this coming, and this is our last place. Isaiah 34th chapter. This is how the Lord's people are coming back. This is how we know Israel is in the land. Well, you got people on. See, the Jews returned back in, 1942, something like that. 1948. Yeah, 1948. The return of the Jews. Really? Did they come like this? Let's see if the Jews came like this. He said they are at hand to come. Isaiah 34:1. Read. Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. See, the Lord will declare the end from the beginning. Because you think about God. Now, God can say right now, if he can whisper in your ear, this time tomorrow, I'm coming through your house with a whirlwind of fire. And your child and your refrigerator, you're going to lose your kids tomorrow. If God spoke in your ear and said that, it's going to happen. It's not, you just might as well be prepared. All I'm saying is, with God speaking, he declared the end from the beginning.
So he's letting them know, look, I have destroyed them. He has delivered them to the slaughter. All the nations are still up, y'all. So this ain't happened yet. This is going to happen, and let's see how it goes. Go ahead.
Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood.
Out of their car. That means a lot of dead bodies, y'all. Go ahead.
And all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved.
Oh, wait, the host of heaven gonna be dissolved. We still got heaven up there, y'all. We got a marker. Here's the marker. All the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved. Go ahead.
And the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll.
Oh, has the heavens rolled together as a scroll yet, y'all? Somebody look outside, please. Oh, anyway. We know this ain't happened yet. Go ahead.
And all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf falls off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judge.
So that's why they got to be born again. As many as we can get them born again, so they can come out of that lineage that's headed for this. Because he said, my sword is bathed in heaven, shall be bathed in heaven. It shall come down upon Idumea, upon the people of my curse to what? Judgment. Go ahead.
The sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord hath a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. Oh, so that's really what it is. It's the land of Idumea right now. We're in the times of the Gentiles. Over there in the land of Israel is actually the land of Idumea. And he said, I have a great slaughter coming in the land of Judea. Idumea, a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. Go ahead. And the unicorn shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their lambs shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness.
Lord got a great slaughter coming, y'all. We know that ain't happening. Everybody talking about kumbaya, you know, Christ loves everybody, Jesus loves, he loves. Anyway, see, when you read this book, you know who, when, and how. The Lord gonna do his thing. Go ahead, verse 8.
For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance.
Oh, he got another vengeance coming, huh? So he dealt with us in 70 AD, but this time he gonna deal with Idumea over the what?
In the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion.
Oh, so he got a day of vengeance coming, and for the year of recompense for the controversy of what? Zion. The Lord coming back. So we know who is in the land right now. We know when they got it, and we know how they replaced us, the children of Israel, in the land. This concludes the lesson.